2023 presidential elections, Atiku emerges as PDP Presidential Flagbearer. The political pendulum is swinging and we're gradually counting down to 2023. With the game changer be Tinubu, Atiku, Kwankwaso, or even the Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawal, who has been touted to be the anointed or consensus candidate of Mr. President. Many believe the president consensus candidate might just be the Senate President, Ahmed Lawal, as against the APC national leader, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who many believe was instrumental to the president being elected. Now it feels that the president is trying to jettison his long-life ambition of being the president, and he is not taking it calmly, guys. Take a listen.
Buhari ní ṣoga máa bá lọ. Kò lè di president. Ó ṣe kìíní olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kejì olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kẹta olùlẹ̀. Ó tiẹ̀ sunkún lórí tẹlifíṣàn. Pé láyé òun ò tún rán mọ́. Mo dẹ̀ lọ bá ń gàdú lẹ́wọ̀ àárọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀kún kọ́ lélẹ̀ àdúró tiẹ̀ wà á dẹ̀ wọlé. Nǹkan kan ní pé o ò ní fọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá ṣeré. Ó dẹ̀ gbà. Àtijọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ti débẹ̀ mi ò gba mínísítà mi ò gba contract mi ì tọrọ ọbẹ̀. Mi tọrọ gàrí mi tọrọ fúra lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ mi dẹ̀ ìyàwó ń bẹ̀ ó wá ní lọ́tẹ̀ yìí o Yorùbá ló kàn. Tá a bá dẹ̀ sá Yorùbá náà èmi ló kàn. Eléyìí tí mo protect àwọn ọmọ tí mo gbé dání ètò èmi náà fẹ́ ṣe present. Mi ò fẹ́ kán pa mí.
We'll be closer to answering these questions and even more as I give you a blow-to-blow account of what went down over the last weekend during the PDP Presidential Primaries, where Atiku emerged as the party presidential flagbearer. But hold on a minute. Did I hear someone say, Atiku not again? How many times? Hold that thought. Welcome to my channel, Shanice Digest. Welcome on board my new subscribers, where I appreciate my returning subscribers. This is a channel where we get to speak out and say it as it is. Coming back to where we left off, for proper context, let's see Atiku's journey so far. The former vice president joined the APC in 2014 to contest for the presidential election, but was floored by the then retired Major General Muhammadu Buhari in the primaries. Atiku did not leave the party. He stayed for a record-breaking 4 years. For the Atiku that we know, who does not waste time in jumping ship, we should actually applaud him for that. So in 2018, Atiku finally left the APC and joined the PDP to contest for the 2019 presidential election with Peter Obi as his running mate. Again, he was roundly defeated by the president. So even with Atiku's 11.2 million votes, winning in 17 states, including the FCT, that couldn't give him the presidency. And I believe, this is purely my personal view, with that performance by Atiku in 2019 and the fact that the President Muhammadu Buhari, who is known for his consistent 12 million votes, not being on the ballot for 2023, Atiku might just feel that, oh, this is the right time for him, to clinch the most powerful political seats in the country. More so that he seems to be enjoying full support of the former security advisor retired Lieutenant General Aliyu Kuso, and the former governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, who indeed ensured that Governor Aminu Tambuwa stepped down for Atiku to emerge as the party flag bearer. So Atiku believes that if there was ever a time that the presidency was so sure for him, then this is the time. But many believed after trying for 29 years to be the president of Nigeria, thus earning him the title a serial presidential contestant, that it was time Atiku gave up his ambition. Let's hear what the former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, has to say about this. Take a listen.
But also let me focus on Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar has been contesting the presidency since 1992. Indeed, there is really no election since 1992 that he has not participated in. He ran against Abiola. In 99, he ran first as governor, then as vice president. In 2003, he picked a form. And that was the crisis, that was what led to the crisis between him and Obasanjo. 2007, he ran, I think he ran on AD or so. 11, he ran, came back to PDP, right? He ran, was it 11? He ran in 11 against Jonathan. 15, he ran. 19, he ran. 23, he wants to run. But now only you did. A time comes when you look at it and say, it's enough. Let me be a kingmaker rather than this king. You leave this Abraham Lincoln story that he ran many times before he got it. He ran only 2 times and he got it.
This Duke is funny. I thought Abraham Lincoln tried many times. So now, why do politicians always claim to have heard from God whenever they want to vie for any political office? Because according to Donald Duke, God has never spoken to him. So does it mean that since God hasn't spoken to him, God also should not have also spoken to any other politician? Take a listen.
Because when people tell me that they heard from God, I've never heard from God.
Even Pastor Tunde Bakare once said he's been elected by God and that God spoke to him. Take a listen.
And suddenly there came the voice of the Spirit of God within me. I heard the Lord say to me, politics is not over for you. There is still one thing left for you to do. Run for president. And he said to me, I will work it out myself and make it happen in due course.
Why am I saying this? So you understand how it works. Some say, I'm going to go for election. God told me I will win. God told you. God doesn't get involved with those things. God doesn't. If God gets involved with governance, the kind of election results that are announced in this country will not be announced. You are not hearing me. It's man-made operation. What is it called? Yeah, it's not God.
Even the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele's inordinate political ambition, is the last nail on the anti-corruption fight campaign of the Buhari administration. If you ask me, who would have thought that an exalted office holder like the CBN governor, holding a position of trust for the people, would smear his name and reputation by dabbling into politics while holding a fiduciary responsibility of managing our commonwealth? A public officer trusted with our commonwealth would allow greed and personal ambition sully his reputation and becloud his sense of responsibility to the nation. An officer who should guide his reputation and be above suspicion like Caesar's wife should have in the Shakespearean drama. Even the joke of it, for him to even mobilize some lazy Nigerian youths, as the president would call them, promoting his presidential campaign all around Abuja, just reminds one of a similar match in the 90s organized by one Daniel Kanu called 1 Million Youths Earnestly Yearn for Abacha, just to ensure that the ruthless dictator, stayed in power. Of course, this was sponsored by the late Senator Hatton Zeribe. And this generated a lot of backlash from the media. And what did the CBN governor say? That he was waiting for God's intervention, that in few days to come, that God will direct him on what to do. What a joke. Anyway, coming back to our real issue. Did you guys see the monetization? In fact, let's even call it in its proper name, the dollarization of the PDP presidential primaries. Maybe that was one of the major, I don't know, I'm just saying, could have been one of the major reasons why Peter Obi left the party. Maybe he does not want to buy votes, or he doesn't have that kind of money. Now, let's do a little mathematics here.
It's unfortunate that money has become a determining factor in Nigeria's politics. I think after this election, Nigerians have to discuss the corruption that exists within the delegate system.
That will not be filled with this kind of rancor and will not be this obscene when looked at, because this is the problem. If you pay these delegates and buy their consciences, they don't have no right, most candidates fail, to question what they do.
Now let's do a little mathematics. PDP had 774 delegates. If there were four major frontline contenders, I'm not talking about the pretenders, I'm talking about the real contestants for the primaries, which were Atiku, Saraki, Wike, and Aminu Tambuwa, who later stepped down for Atiku to emerge as the presidential flag bearer. Now, so we are back to just three, it's just an assumption. There's three presidential contestants. So let's even give it a conservative estimate. Let's not even say, okay, they went home with between $20,000 to $23,000. Let's even bring the figure to $15,000. Let's assume that they gave $15,000, at least a more conservative estimate here. So if each of the presidential aspirants gave $15,000, meaning the three contestants paid altogether $45,000. So if they paid $45,000 to 774 delegates, that will bring the figure to about $34,830,000, and that's about 20 billion naira in one night. You can see the kind of monetization electoral process that we are just running in this country. So it just reminds me of, okay, I don't even want to go into that right now. How do you now expect the youth to come up? It's not even enough that you're asking them. I think PDP presidential fund was about 40 million. That of APC is 100 million. I'm not even talking about the presidential fund that they have to, go so, I don't even know what to say, honestly. To lose an arm and a leg to get. For the youth, I'm not talking about the old politicians who have we know their character, so I don't even want to go into that. I'm talking about the youth. How do they expect a youth to, come out with that kind of money just to pick up presidential form? So let's even let's even assume that the youth can even afford the presidential fund. Now let's come to the delegates. How do you expect the youth to pay each delegate, say, a conservative amount of $15,000, and they have to pay 774 delegates? Where is that youth going to get that kind of money from? So it just reminds me of, in economics, or in the business, in the banking system now, there's something called crowding out, where the big players, the big investors will come in and get all the funds from the bank, and then the SMEs will have nothing to get. And it's called crowding out. So these big political players, they have the game plan, make this very difficult, entry into the political race, take the stake up financially, so as to crowd out the youth that they know may not have this kind of wealth, this kind of money to come in, So it's a technical knockout. So I'm wondering how there's a young man, a young American-based politician. I think his name is Nicholas. Yeah, Nicholas Felix. That is coming to run to vie for the presidency. And I asked, how is Nicholas going to get? I mean, this is under the APC platform. How is he going to get? I think the guy is 40. He's like 40. How is he going to get 100 million naira to buy presidential form and then be able to get so much money to bribe delegates? Because if he doesn't bribe delegates, he's not going to get a vote. Our uncle, Chief Dele Momodu, can attest to that. He got 0 votes. And then he came up with a tweet that he didn't pay nothing and he got nothing. If you don't pay, you get nothing. That is the kind of political system we are running. And it is a shame, honestly, to say the very least. So how can the youth even compete in such an obscenely monetized electoral process? How can the likes of Nicholas Felix cope with the deepest political pockets that we have around? It is not just enough to sign not too young to run bill. The processes that are there has been laced with all kinds of thorns, layers and layers of hurdle, deliberately put in place to ensure that the Nigerian youth cannot gain access to power, so that the old geriatric politicians will continue to dominate, continue to control our collective destinies. They have all the funds, stolen wealth, because I don't understand how in God's name you signed not too young to run bill, and then you cannot also legislate that the youth, at least within a certain age limit, can pick up this form free of charge, and then make the processes for them actualizing their political ambition not fraught with all kinds of layers of hurdles for these youths. And many are busy criticizing Mr. Peter Obi for leaving the PDP to Labour Party, and that is desperate. He should not even have dignified them with any response. He went to Labour Party. I can bet you he didn't even spend, The man knew, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say. Why would he be criticized? When the system has been so obscenely monetized, how did they expect him to get that kind of funds and then give it all out to, delegate, without even giving him the assurance that he would even emerge the presidential candidate for the party? And many have also gone ahead to call his economic policies as being deceptive and weak, and that he even lacks courage. That while he's busy saying he wants to be president, he's there, trying to promote another candidate. You can listen to Nyesom Wike. He's the father of talking, so let's hear him talk.
This is not the time for theory. This is a time for action. This is not a time that I'm a trader. No. This is not a time I'm an importer. No. This is not a time I own bank. No. It's not time for somebody saying that I carry my bag. It's not this time. It's not this time at all. I didn't come here to begin to teach you about the economy of Nigeria. That's theory. That's not what I came here. So coming here now to tell you these health indices, this is true, not true. It's not true at all, it's not true. Those ones are theory, it doesn't work that way. Because I tell people, I know your son is running, I know P2B is running. But the problem, when I had P2B say that he's the best candidate, that he is the best candidate. But he went to Atiku declaration, I said Atiku is the best one to fix the economy. Atiku is the best one to fix the economy in Nigeria. But yet you are the best candidate. Haba.
Now, you talked about Peter Obi's excuse for leaving the People's Democratic Party. Peter Obi had joined the People's Democratic Party sometime in 2014. And then he ran on the platform of the party in 2019 as the vice presidential candidate. He has been in this party comfortably for about 8 years. He knows the character of the party. So if he's now just 3 days before the presidential primaries going to say, okay, well, my kind of politics does not agree with the PDP, that's an excuse. He's being opportunistic because he knows how this party has been. The reason why he stepped down, which is not telling the public, is because he was going to be disgraced at the primaries. Even in his own state, he doesn't control the PDP machinery. So he wasn't even going to get the most votes even in his own state. So to avoid that disgrace, then he just came out and brought about this opportunistic excuse that he's leaving the party because of this, because of that. Look at what he said. I watched him on Newsnight yesterday on this channel, and one of the presenters asked him, look, how could you have left the People's Democratic Party, which is a party that is tilting towards the right, and then you go to the Labour Party, which is a party that is almost as far left as possible without being a communist party? And then he said to him that, your ideology clearly doesn't fit with this ideology. And his response is that, no, my ideology fits with that. And that's dishonesty on his part. 2019, he gave an interview to Tell, and he said that he supports the privatization process, and that anybody, and you can Google it if you're watching me at home, even you right now, you can Google it, he said anybody who compromises the privatization agenda should be arrested, prosecuted, and sent to jail. Meanwhile, the Labour Party is against the privatization agenda. They've asked for the government to scrap it because anywhere in the world, Labour is against privatization. Peter Obi is in support of the regulation of the oil sector, is in support of removing subsidy. The Labour Party is against that. Peter Obi is in support of free market policies. He's in support of lower taxes for big businesses so that they can continue to employ. The Labour Party is against that. So you can see that ideologically, they are polar opposites. So how can he move to a party that is a polar opposite of what he believes in ideologically? This is just being opportunistic.
So in evaluating the man of the moment, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, does he have what Nigerians want to be that 21st century leader? Let's even go back in time and evaluate the former vice president Atiku Abubakar as when he was a constitutional chairman of the NCP, the National Council on Privatization. How did he fare in the privatization process. How did it fare? So let's even go down there and see how it fared. He privatized Alscon, Aluminium Smelting Company of Nigeria. He privatized Nitel, privatized Nigerian Airways. So now the thing is, usually countries benefit so much from privatization by bringing in foreign investors so that those critical assets can be better managed and generate jobs for the citizens, and then grow the economy. Now, just oppose that with what happened to these critical assets that were privatized, supervised by the then Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I can tell you, it was in this administration that some of the staff of Nigerian Airways were paid. So, what happened to the money gotten from privatization? Why couldn't that money have, cleared their salaries and arrears and then perhaps, pay them off? Why wait from that moment till this administration where the present government was able to clear that debt? So it tells you that our former vice presidents, okay, let me even put it this way. How well did he even understand the running of the economy? How did he fare as the constitutional chairman of NCP in terms of privatization? Because I want to use other countries that have really used privatization to come out of the woods. Country like Rwanda. And it was the same vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The same former vice president, I beg your pardon, former vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. In his 2019, presidential debate, he said that he was going to sell NNPC. Well, take a listen.
The long and short story is that I am committed to privatizing NNPC. I said it. I swear, even if they are going to kill me, I will do it. And I'm also not going to enrich members of my family, but my friends. Are my friends not entitled to be enriched? Are my friends not entitled to be enriched? Are my friends not entitled to be...
In other countries, privatization has been used to boost the economic fortunes of these countries, thereby improving the per capita income of the citizens. Take Rwanda, for example, a country embroiled in civil conflict with about 1 million people killed in the Rwanda genocide. A country many people believe would never come out of such devastation. And this happened in 1994. Now fast forward, 3 decades later, the Rwanda economic miracle was made possible by the visionary leadership of Paul Kagame, who has made Rwanda the fastest growing economy with a 9% economic growth, having the lowest unemployment rate. Little wonder why the voters' participation is as high as 98%, because when things are working well in your country, of course the citizens are happy and they want to be part of the electoral process. So who is going to be that visionary leader come 2023? Is it Tinubu, Atiku, Osibanjo, the Senate President Ahmed Lawal, or Kwankwaso of the new Nigerian People's Party, the NNPP, who advocate for the ballot box coup, the political tsunami, the third force that we have been waiting for? So let's rise up and save Nigeria. This is where I draw the curtain for today. If you like my video, please do give it a thumbs up. strike on that notification bell so that you get to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Leave your comments down below and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Since this is a political, this is a political season, I'll leave you with the words of Aristotle, that it is only a beast or a non-human who wouldn't be interested in politics, because you have to be interested in who governs you, because it will make all the difference if you know. Thank you for finding the time to watch my video. See you pretty soon. Peace out.